1346, Kaffa. A blacksmith named Elias holds his breath. His wife coughs blood into a wooden bowl. 3 days ago, she was fine. Now, invisible enemies ride the trade winds. That cough traveled on Genos galleys. Bacteria hitched rides on rats. Yersinia pestis jumped from fleas to humans. Within months, 20% of Kaffa died. The port became a graveyard. Elias fled to Messina. He carried the plague in his blood. It spread through Sicily. By 1347, 40,000 people died there. The death toll doubled every month. No medicine stopped it. But the rich died too. King Alfonso fled to a castle. It offered no protection. The virus ignored status. Social hierarchy collapsed. Gold meant nothing against fever. Equality came through death. Labor vanished. Wages tripled in England. Peasants demanded rights. The feudal system cracked. Survivors inherited land. Power shifted silently. The world changed forever. Freedom cost lives. Elias rested under an oak tree. He watched a flea jump. That small creature changed history. The pandemic reshaped Europe. Silence followed the storm. Life continued differently. Messina, Sicily. 1348, cargo ships arrived from Crimea. They didn't bring silk. They brought death. Within weeks, 30,000 bodies piled in the streets. The air turned thick with rot. The virus raced north. Florence exploded. Neighbors vanished overnight. People couldn't bury the dead. Streets filled with swollen bodies. The stench of decay choked the city air. Look closer. Dark swellings appeared on necks. Buboes. Then black spots bloomed on skin. These weren't just symptoms. They were death marks. The body was failing fast. Doctors blamed bad air. Miasma. They burned herbs. It didn't work. The flea carried the bacteria. It jumped from rats to humans. Invisible killers won. Wait. The rich fled. King Alfonso ran to a castle. But the virus ignored status. Gold meant nothing against fever. Social hierarchy collapsed completely. Death was equal. Labor vanished. Wages tripled in England. Peasants demanded rights. The feudal system cracked. Survivors inherited land. Power shifted silently. Freedom cost lives. Elias rested under an oak tree. He watched a flea jump. That small creature changed history. The pandemic reshaped Europe. Silence followed the storm. Life continued differently. Florence, 1348. The bells stopped ringing. Boccaccio wrote of empty streets. No priests remained to chant. Silence fell over the city, but in the quiet, something else woke up. Money. Fields lay fallow. 3 acres of wheat rotted. No hands to harvest. In London, wages doubled within months. Labor was scarce. Peasants held the cards. The balance of power shifted overnight. Survivors inherited land. Not by birth. By luck. Elias stood on his new estate. He owned what lords once held. Feudalism cracked. Serfdom ended. Freedom was bought with blood. But lords resisted. They fixed wages by law. The Statute of Laboris arrived. Elias marched to town. He demanded his worth. Conflict erupted in market squares. Prices soared too. Bread cost 3 times more. Inflation hit hard. Elias earned double. But food cost triple. Real wages stayed flat. The victory was an illusion. Culture shifted. Art changed. Painters depicted death dancing. The asterisk dance macabre asterisk emerged. Skeletal figures pulled kings and peasants alike. Equality in death became the new truth. Elias grew old. He watched his children thrive. They spoke freely. They moved freely. The rigid world dissolved. The Black Death didn't just kill. It liberated. Centuries later, we still feel it. Our wages. Our freedom. Traced back to that silence. Point one plague. One reset. The world became ours. Remember that. 1348. Siena, Italy. A boy named Elias watches his father cough blood into a linen rags. The rag is red. The air smells of ROT.BY. 1350. Half of Europe's 7 million people will vanish. Who will be left to rule? Fast-paced, labor vanished. Wages tripled, but lords refused to pay. In 1349, they passed a law, cap wages at 1347 levels. Elias, now a free laborer, refused. He walked away, which meant the field stayed empty. Tension rising, silence cost money. In London, 1381, serfs marched. They carried pitchforks and taxes ledgers. They demanded freedom, not just food. King John listened. He promised to abolish serfdom, but promises are cheap. The revolt began. Intense, France erupted too. Peasants attacked castles. They called themselves Jacquerie Star. They burned manor houses. Elias joined a mob in Paris. He smashed a noble's window. The old order cracked. Power shifted overnight, but the nobles remembered. The nobles didn't just fight back. They changed the economy. Wages stayed high. Prices dropped. Real income soared by 40%. Elias bought land. He owned his home. The plague didn't just kill bodies. It killed feudalism, but was it permanent? Reflective, art changed too. Painters drew skeletons dancing. Kings and peasants died equally. Death became the great equalizer. Elias watched his children play freely. No masters. No chains. The silence created space. Space for freedom, but freedom has a cost. Centuries later, look at your salary. It traces back to that silence. Point one plague. One reset. The world became ours. Remember that. Elias is gone. But his freedom remains. Listen to the silence. Elias stood in the Milan Square, 1348. He didn't pray to saints. He slapped his chest with raw hide. 2,000 flagellants marched. They beat themselves until blood soaked their shirts. Why did pain feel like prayer? They blamed invisible forces. And then, neighbors, Jews were accused of poisoning wells. Elias watched 3 men burn in his neighborhood. Scent of roasted garlic filled the air. Fear twisted into hatred. Who was next? Art shifted too. Painters ignored heaven. They drew skeletons at the dance of death. Kings and beggars held hands with bones. Elias saw his own grave waiting. Death wasn't an event. It was a partner. Was life just a prelude? But the silence wasn't empty. It was loud. New faith rose from the ash. Elias joined a brotherhood. No priests. Just shared grief. They read scripture in Italian, not Latin. God was no longer distant. He was neighbor. Did God change? The fever broke. But the mind stayed altered. Elias touched a wooden cross. It wasn't just wood. It was survival. We didn't just lose bodies. We lost old gods. The silence changed us forever. Elias stood in a silent Florence market. No peasants. Just empty stalls. Wages tripled in 1348. Meat became cheap. Bread? Luxury. The rich starved. The workers feasted. Who ruled the city now? That meat funded books. Elias bought paper. Fewer workers meant higher pay. Landlords needed hands. They lowered rents. The middle class exploded. But money alone doesn't build empires. What did it buy? It bought time. Elias watched craftsmen skip prayers. Efficiency replaced ritual. Gutenberg's press arrived in 1450. Knowledge spread fast. God was no longer a mystery. He was a fact. But facts clash. Who decided the truth? The old maps were wrong. Elias traced a line. Exploration began. Columbus sailed in 1492. Not for God. For gold. The dead cleared the path. But the New World had its own ghosts. What waited there? Germs. Invisible killers. Elias looked at his daughter. She coughed. The plague returned in waves. 1500 to 1700. We learned to quarantine. But nature doesn't stop. Just hides. Are we safe? We built hospitals. Elias saw doctors in masks. Beak-shaped. Filled with herbs. Silly. But they survived. Science replaced prayer. The virus taught us to look. Are we still looking? Look now. Elias is gone. But the air remains. One breath. The world changes. Again. Always.